Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the digital ring with two absolute heavyweights, JPG and PNG. And trust me, by the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly which one to pick to make your projects look sharp and load crazy fast.
So let's kick things off with a problem that I know drives a lot of people nuts. You poured hours into getting your website looking just right, but then your photos take forever to load, and your logo, it just looks kind of off, right? A little blurry, maybe with this weird blocky background you can't get rid of. Well, 9 times out of 10, the culprit is using the wrong image format.
All right, let's meet our two contenders. In this corner, you've got the long-reigning champion of the photography world, JPG. And in the other corner, the undisputed master of crisp graphics in super clean lines, PNG. Now, they both have their unique strengths, but, and this is a big but, using them in the wrong place, that's a guaranteed knockout for your design. Okay, first things first. Before we can really understand when to use them, we've got to know a little bit about where they came from and what they were actually designed to do in the first place. So, say hello to JPG. It came onto the scene way back in 1992. And its whole mission was to take these massive, high-detail photo files and shrink them down so they could actually be shared on the early internet. It does this using something called lossy compression, which is a clever way of saying it throws out tiny bits of image data that our eyes are least likely to notice. It's all about being small and efficient.
And then you've got PNG, which showed up just a couple of years later to replace the old GIF format. And its superpower? It's called lossless compression. What that means is, it shrinks the file size without getting rid of a single pixel of information. Everything is perfectly preserved, every single time. It's all about quality.
All right, now for the main event. We know their origin stories, so let's put them side by side and see where they really shine and where they fall short. This is where the choice starts to get really clear.
You know, this table right here, this pretty much boils everything down to 3 huge trade-offs. JPG is lossy and small, but it can't do transparency. PNG is lossless and supports transparency, but that means a bigger file. This is the heart of the whole debate.
So here's the really crucial point to get your head around. With a JPG, every single time you edit and resave that image, it gets compressed again, and it loses a little more quality. It's like making a photocopy of a photocopy. It just gets fuzzier and fuzzier. A PNG, on the other hand, is basically indestructible. You can save it 1,000 times, and it will look just as perfect as it did the very first time.
And this is the absolute game changer for web design, transparency. A JPG will always have a solid box around it, usually white, but a PNG can have a completely see-through background, which means your logo or an icon can sit perfectly on top of any color, any pattern, any photo. For logos, it's non-negotiable.
Okay, so we've got the theory down. Now let's get practical. When should you actually use each one in the real world? Think of JPG as your go-to workhorse for any kind of photography. We're talking about photos for your blog, your product galleries, web banners, any image with millions of colors and subtle gradients. In these cases, you won't even notice the tiny bit of data that's lost, but you will notice how much faster your page loads because the file size is so much smaller.
PNG, however, is the absolute champion for graphics. Anytime your image has hard edges, text, or big blocks of solid color, like a logo, an icon, a diagram, or even a screenshot, PNG is what you want. It'll keep those lines perfectly crisp and clean. And of course, if you need that transparent background or you know you're going to be editing that file a bunch, PNG is the only way to go.
You know what? Let's make this super simple. Here's a quick decision tree you can run through in your head every time. First question, is it a photograph with lots of colors and details? Boom, use JPG. Next, does it need a transparent background? That's an easy one. It has to be a PNG. And finally, is it a simple graphic with sharp, clean lines? You guessed it, PNG for the win.
So after all that, what's the final verdict? What's the one big thing you really need to remember from all of this?
I think the most important takeaway here is that it's not about which format is better overall. That's kind of the wrong question. It's like asking if a hammer is better than a screwdriver. I mean, they're both amazing tools, but you've got to use them for the right job.
So here it is, the golden rule. If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. Use JPGs for photos and use PNGs for graphics. That's it. Seriously, burn that into your brain and I promise you, your websites and designs will instantly look 100 times more professional.
And remember, this isn't just some nerdy technical detail. This stuff really matters.
The format you choose has a huge impact on how fast your site loads, which is critical for SEO, how professional your branding looks, and, at the end of the day, the entire experience someone has with your work. It's a small choice that makes a massive difference.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought, a little challenge to put this into action right now. Think about your own website or a project you're working on. With everything you know now, what's the first image, that slow-loading photo, that blurry logo, that you can go and fix today?